Chapter 2 Gas Lights the Way to Northwest Ohio. On January 20th, 1886, at present-day Liberty Street in downtown Findlay, a major gas strike was made. The find resulted in a gas boom and industrial boom for Northwest Ohio, which had no glass houses in 1886. By the end of 1887, there were 10 glass factories in Findlay. At the same time, Bowling Green attracted 7 large glass makers and was dubbed the Crystal City. Unfortunately for Toledo, the Trenton deposit did not reach to the city, but the Toledo Businessmen's Association was an innovative bunch. A pipeline was built in 1887 to Toledo. The first glass company to come to Northwest Ohio was Findlay Window Glass. Within a year, it was followed by 4 other window glass companies: Wilcox Glass, Buckeye Window Glass, Ohio Window Glass, and Hirsch-Ely Window Glass. By late 1887, the more established art, houseware, and bottle glass companies were moving to Northwest Ohio from Pittsburgh and West Virginia. By 1889, Findlay was the second largest glass-making center, second only to Pittsburgh. The number of glass houses in a few years went from 0 to 25 in Findlay, 11 in Bowling Green, 15 in Fostoria, 5 in North Baltimore, 4 in Maumee, 8 in Tiffin, 8 in Toledo, and another 15 or so scattered in smaller communities. Within a few years, Northwest Ohio had many more glass houses than Pittsburgh, New England, and West Virginia. The potential growth of glass houses caused a critical shortage of labor, in particular child labor, which was essential to glass houses, making up most of the employees. Glass houses could not function without mold boys, carry-in boys, carry-out boys, and general laborers. Orphanages all over the United States became sources of supply. There were always rumors of orphan trains arriving throughout the night in Northwest Ohio train stations. From all over the country, boys who had minor problems in probate court were shipped to the glass houses. At many glass houses, such as Nickel Plate Glass in Fostoria, these kids put in their 10 hours a day in 2 shifts, one from 7 a.m. to noon and another from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Early settlers of Northwest Ohio had reported the illumination of swamp gas in the early 1800s. An oil strike in Lima in 1885 heralded the discovery of the Trenton limestone strata, rich in oil and gas. The gas deposits were centered in Hancock County. Notice that part of the Trenton deposit drifted into Indiana and was a basis for Indiana's glass industry. Dr. Charles Osterlin drilled several farm wells in the Findlay area in the 1880s. One Findlay farmer had been using natural gas as early as 1836. Dr. Osterlin used his knowledge of geology to find highly productive wells. On January 20th, 1886, the Carg well struck gas in the middle of the village of Findlay. The location was on the south bank of the Blanchard River on Liberty Street. The light of the well could be seen as far as Toledo. The noise was deafening as 20 million cubic feet fed the flame every day. The well struck high-pressure gas at 1,000 feet in what was known as the Trenton limestone strata. Amateur geologist Charles Osterlin had found gas on his farm in 1884 prior to tapping the Great Carg Strike. Within months of the Carg gas strike, gas was being supplied to retailers at a cost of $3 a month. Gas lights for street, store, and homes burnt 24 hours a day. There were no pilot lights, valves, or meters. The Chamber of Commerce ran national advertisements offering free natural gas and land for factories to move to Findlay. By 1888, Findlay had attracted 72 factories, including 11 glass houses. By 1891, demand outstripped supply, and by 1895, the low gas pressure and dry wells ended the gas boom in Northwest Ohio. In In 1887, two rival Toledo companies, Toledo Natural Gas and Northwestern Gas, bought up Findlay Wells, proposing a pipeline to Toledo. Construction of the line started in the winter of 1887. On July 27, 1887, former President Rutherford B. Hayes opened the lines at Toledo's Grand Gas Celebration. The gas lines followed closely present-day I-75. The pressure in the pipelines dropped so low in the cold winter of 1888 that Libby Glass's pots had to be warmed by cutting wood. In December 1888, gas shortages caused hundreds of homes to go cold for days. The Dalzell Glass Works was one of the first glass companies and Findlay's longest-lived glass company, closing in 1901. The Dalzell brothers were glassmen from Wellsburg. Edward Gilmore was a Pittsburgh banker, and William Layton Jr. was the son of the famous New England Glass Company chemist William Layton, who invented pressed soda glass. The company produced crystal flint glass for lamps and fine tableware. Like his father, William Jr. helped Dalzell Glass become a leader in colored glass. The strange saddle-like molds were used for pressed glass manufacture. The great glass chemist William Layton came to run the operation from Hobbs Braconier of West Virginia. His father had been an expert in colored glass at New England Glass. The fine colored tableware of this operation was world famous. Columbia Glass was the first tableware manufacturer in Northwest Ohio, opening in Findlay in 1886. Formed by Pittsburgh glassmakers, Columbia was a major manufacturer of blown and pressed glass. David Jenkins, the president of Columbia, would form America's first glass trust, consisting of 17 companies throughout the United States. In 1890, the Findlay plant became known as United States Glass Company Factory J. Due to the gas shortage, the company tried to switch to oil, but ultimately failed in 1893. This was one of 6 window glass companies that came to Findlay for free natural gas. It was built at a railroad intersection near Ray Street and Moracle Avenue to facilitate product shipping. One of the many mobile wooden structures, in 1896, when the gas failed, it packed up to 25 rail cars and moved to Indiana. The glass boom of the 1880s created even more abuses in the employment of children. While Ohio was one of the few states that had child labor laws, these laws were typically ignored by the glass industry. Much of the justification was based on the use of orphans, thus providing them a career. Boys leaving the orphanage were given 2 suits, 4 pairs of socks, a good pair of shoes, and a hat. Estimates suggest boys made up about 30 to 40% of the workforce. This was the first window company to build in Findlay in 1887. It was a wooden structure built quickly, and its 8-pot furnace operated less than a year. North Baltimore, Ohio was a railroad junction of the Baltimore and Ohio with the Toledo, Columbus, and Southern Railroad. Located north of Findlay in the Trenton gas field, it drew some of Northwest Ohio's first glass works. North Baltimore ran until 1900, when the low gas pressure forced it to pack up and move to Terre Haute, Indiana. Fostoria Glass was one of the earliest companies to come to Northwest Ohio in 1887. The 12-pot furnace was located on South Vine Street in Fostoria. The city gave gas to the plant for $200 a year and offered a $10,000 signing bonus. The company left in 1891 when the gas ran out. William Dalzell brought glassworks to Findlay and Fostoria in 1887. Dalzell was an early pioneer of automated glassworking even before Owens and Libby. At a Findlay hotel in 1901, he formed National Glass, a major glass trust of companies. The trust failed and Fostoria Glass moved to Moundsville, West Virginia in 1891. Friendly was the Paris of Ohio with its natural gas lighting. A dark Toledo could see the yellowish sky to its south in 1887. During special events, the gas lighting was close to daylight. Many believed the supply would never run out. During these various celebrations, glass industry executives were brought in from New England, West Virginia, and Pittsburgh.